I'll make it up. Shabbat Shalom. We will begin our service tonight with the singing of Shalom Aleichem. Please join me on page 24. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Shalom, Shalom. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shalom, Shalom. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Shalom, Shalom. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shalom, Shalom. Peace be upon you, angels divine. Shabbat Shalom, umivarach. Barachuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Shalom, Shalom. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Baruch. Join with me. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shalom, Shalom. Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Shalom, Shalom. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shalom, 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 Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
So nice to see everybody. And with these great windows, we get to see the beautiful evening that is all around us while we are here together enjoying Shabbat, singing and reading. I don't know about you, I have been running all day long. You notice I'm propping myself up here. Thank you. So I need just a few seconds to gather myself, as perhaps some of you, maybe all of you, feel the need to as well. So let's pause for a few minutes and just breathe in and breathe out a little bit and try to put aside temporarily those cares and concerns that capture our attention during the week. Let's pause for a moment. I was worried about falling asleep, but I didn't do so. It's my pleasure to welcome forward Eileen and Gary Kammer, who are going to light our Shabbat candles and do some reading for us. The prayers can be found on page 3.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all beholders. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled lights, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We continue now on page 20 for the singing of Lecha Dodi. You know that in the last verse we stand and face the door and welcome the Sabbath bride. Page 20. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishbianu el hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shemo tiferet v'lihit Boi v'shalom ateret barla gam b'simcha u'b'tzorach ha'olam toch emunei am sigula boi chala remain standing as we turn to page 28 for the call to worship, the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed.
Together, praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever. Continuing on page 33. Let's read this together at the top of the page. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. On page 34, the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
Together, hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. You may be seated as we turn to page 36 for the chanting of the V'ahavta.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'chayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha b'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta b'ham b'shiftecha b'beitecha u'b'lechtecha b'derech u'b'shofecha u'b'kumecha u'kshartam le'od yadecha v'chayu l'totafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'b'sharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
I want to say a word or two about the V'ahavta, which we're going to read in a minute. The V'ahavta comes immediately after the Shema in the book of Deuteronomy. The Shema is chapter 6, verse 4. The V'ahavta begins with verse 5. It's a very stunning beginning of this paragraph, the imperative to love. One could really think about this for a long time. I want to point out a dualism that the great philosopher and expert in Jewish law, Moses Maimonides, makes. Law is to be juxtaposed with fear or reverence. Both are movements. When we love somebody or something or some idea, love is the movement toward them. When we fear or revere someone or something, we move away. We don't feel we can really stand in the same place as that which we revere, although that which we love is drawing us toward it. This is a good, I think, understanding of what is happening in this paragraph. Notice as we read it together, those things toward which we are commanded to move toward, to embrace, to make part of our own lives and our own aspirations. Let's read this paragraph together. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God, Adonai Elohechem Emet. Turning now to page 40. Who is like you, O God, among the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders together? Your children witnessed your sovereignty, the sea splitting before Moses and Miriam. This is our God, they cried. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
Adonai, Yimloch, Le'olam, Va'ed, Micha Mocha, Bailim Adonai, Micha Mocha, Nedar
On page 42, grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, for your name's sake be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem together. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomrenu l'chayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shalom lecha, ufros aleinu sukat shalom lecha. just God, wrong from right. Amen. Amen. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Lishalom, Lishalom. V'hamidenu Shomrenu, L'chaim. Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha.
We turn now to page 46, and as you are able, I invite you to rise for the Amida.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imachot, U'mevi Geula Livnei V'nei L'ma'an Shemo B'achava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'ezrat Sarah, Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Ata, Rav Lechoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishanei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umidom Elach, Melech Meini Tumechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'emanat l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yachalalu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
You may be seated. And we turn now to page 53. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence like lightning illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed. And we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Continuing now on page 61. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. Let's continue together. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvarech et amo Yisrael, bashalom.
Shalom, Arav Yisrael, Amacha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom, Arav Yisrael, Amacha, Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon, lechol shalom, v'tov beinecha, levarech et amcha Yisrael, b'chol עת rachasha, b'shlom Baruch atah Adonai, hamarech et amo Shalom.
Let us pause now for moments of silent prayer.
Oh, say shalom bimromav. Oh, yeah, say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru, imru, amen. Oh, say shalom bimromav. Oh, yeah, say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru, imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael.
We pause now, as we always do at this point in our service, to think about those members of our families and circle of friends who are ailing at this moment, ailing of mind, of body, of spirit. I'm going to read the names that have been given to me, and then if you like, you may mention those about whom you are thinking as well. On this occasion, we remember especially Priscilla Dan, Sarah Felder, Gail Greenfield, Gary Haber-Kornholm, Robin Lieberman, Sherry Litvak, Peggy Meehan, Sandy Naffa, Rob Pepsney, Jay Schultz, Grace Weltman, Yonatan Adi Ben Chaya Rachel. Let's join together now in the singing of the Mishaberach. You can find the words on page 253.
The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
At this moment, we move from concern for family and friends, sadness at their situation, to celebration, to moments of happiness, Shehechianu moments. I have here, and I'm inclined to believe it, that Larry Mack is celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday, Larry.
Mazel tov, happy birthday.
How many? How many? 47. Anybody else want to share a Shehechianu moment? Yes, Jeannie. You celebrate 2 days?
It's like Rosh Chodesh.
Yeah,
Right,
of course.
right. Happy birthday, Jeannie. Mazel
Jeannie,
tov.
knowing you, Jeannie, I expect a year from now or 2 years from now, 3 days. See if you can pull that off.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Ah,
Okay.
your grandson graduated from your alma mater, Rabbi,
Yeah.
from Shaker.
Yes.
Mazel tov.
Yes, Mazel tov. Long time ago for me. Any others? Okay.
There's one over there, Rabbi, right there.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay. Oh. Oh. Uh-huh. That's great. Very good.
Mazel tov. Mazel
Lee
tov on your grandson.
Sternheimer and I were classmates at Shaker Heights High School. Played a lot of softball together. Thanks, Lee. Good to see you always. Okay.
Well, should we
so
sing a Shehechianu, Rabbi?
let's sing a Shehechianu.
All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Well, friends, as you well know, we will be celebrating the 250th birthday of our country within a few weeks on this coming July 4th. And it's important now, as I believe it's always important, that we remind ourselves about the meaning of America, the meaning of our country. I believe that the best way to start is to look at some of our country's founding documents. And so tonight I want to explore this topic, and in two ways. First, I want to highlight the fundamental meaning of America as described in two fundamental documents, the Declaration of Independence and Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. And secondly, I want to consider the idea that America, in its essence, is a kind of religion, and the kind of religion best articulated, surprisingly, by the great Jewish theologian Abraham Joshua Heschel. And so let me begin with a few of the major claims of the Declaration of Independence and the Gettysburg Address. First in the Declaration is the principle of natural rights as articulated in the Declaration. And that assertion is that certain rights are inherent to all human beings, not conferred, not able to be taken away, but a part of what it means to be human. It cannot be taken away and cannot be surrendered by anyone at any time. And this is the meaning of inalienable rights. The second is the idea of the social contract, that power and legitimacy are in the hands of the people, and that governments derive their legitimacy through the consent of the governed. These two ideas form the core of the Declaration of Independence, and indeed, Thomas Jefferson thought that the Declaration was so revolutionary that he called it the beginning of a new world. In fact, Jefferson considered this document to be so important that he ordered that that fact be inscribed on his tombstone, whereas the fact that he served 2 terms as president were not. But the way in which the Declaration opens is also crucial to its meaning. And that opening is, we hold these truths to be self-evident. Now, what is meant by self-evident? Simply, in my view, it means that these are the premises These are the grounding principles of our worldview, and they are indisputable. Namely, they are not subject to, as premises are not subject to, argument. They are the basic foundation of all that follows. And this is a new beginning, to be sure. And with these premises, we are expressing not mere opinions, but the absolute values from which everything follows. And note that by saying this, the founders are denying the cogency of some strong traditional values that are in opposition to these values. Namely, that some people have more rights than others, a millennial assumption down through the ages, and that rulers gain their legitimacy not by the governed, but through the church, through the synagogue, by divine right. And so the bold assertion, these things are not just true, they are self-evidently true. And then, at the Gettysburg Address, at the cemetery in Gettysburg in 1863, Lincoln returns to these premises, reasserts them, and adds something new, that the death of the soldiers who, and now I quote him, who gave their lives that this nation might live, that new fact created an imperative for us, the living, and I quote him again, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work, the great task remaining before us. What is new is not that the work is unfinished, but that it is the heroic sacrifices of the soldiers that has created an indisputable new beginning. Finish the work. Finish the work of the Declaration of Independence. And therefore, that, and I quote him, we highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have, and here are the famous words, a new birth of freedom. Jefferson and Lincoln, founders of the idea of America. What is America? And now I want to make a claim that some of you, perhaps many of you, will object to. And that is that the American idea that is expressed in the Declaration of Independence and in the Gettysburg Address are the basic components of what I want to call the religion of America. Yes, I'm going to argue briefly that the idea and ideals of America are components of a kind of religion. Religion not in the way Judaism and Christianity are religions, but in the way that scholars have defined it as a civil religion, the religion of a civil society. And what is that civil religion? In a word, civil religion reflects and embodies the ideas, the ideals, the aspirations, and the rituals of a civil society. And one of the ways of summarizing the meaning of civil religion, the religion of the polity and not of the churches and the synagogues, is to say that civil religions, and certainly the civil religion of Thomas Jefferson and Abraham Lincoln, is the focus on what they call the higher law. Now, how are we to understand the role of the higher law in the life of a country like ours? For this, I want to appeal to a famous comment made by Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, that as much, he says, as we might search for God, and that's a premise that we assume, that we are to search for God, however we understand this, that as much as we might search for God, that the more important fact is that God is in search of us. That the God of the Bible, for Heschel, is the God of pathos, not the emotionless God of Greek philosophy, but rather the God of the Bible experiences anguish, experiences joy and mercy and anger, and is deeply involved in the life of human history. And that God, and this is surprising, that God needs human beings. God has a need for us to be partners with God, and that God is hoping that we human beings will seek what God values most: righteousness, justice, and compassion. In other words, just as traditional religion emphasizes what I might call the motion upward, our search for God, our attempt to understand God's ways, Heschel, without denying what I'm calling the search upward, emphasizes the search downward, that God is searching for and waiting for us. When God is asking, according to Heschel, when will there be a righteous generation? Now, what does this mean? It means that there are, according to this point of view, a set of transcendent standards. Call them God's rules, or a higher law, not our laws, the laws promulgated by cultures, but a higher law, or a permanent way of acting, or eternal standards that are not bound by time and place. And that these standards, to use Heschel's language, are waiting. They're waiting for us to embrace and to embody them. So let's call this a religion. And like traditional religions, like Judaism, these civil religions are focused on aspiration of the eternal search, quest for living on a higher plane, and therefore to continual dissatisfaction with life that is less than perfect. According to Heschel, the great gift of the biblical prophets is dissatisfaction. That's a gift for us, because unless we're dissatisfied, unless we're not complacent, we don't reach for something higher. The civil religion of Jefferson and Lincoln, their vision of America, is a religion of this kind. That's why the documents assert premises. Now, I want to compare briefly this vision of what a people, a nation, a religion ought to be with a recent statement about America by Vice President J.D. Vance. Here's what Vance has said: that America is, now I quote him, not merely a creedal nation, that is not merely a nation based on ideas, ideals, and aspirations, generalizations, not merely a creedal nation founded purely on abstract, universal ideas and ideals, but as a tangible homeland with a specific people, a shared history, and a common way of life. With this statement, Vance, it seems to me, diminishes the role of aspiration, of idealism, of searching for a transcendent universal good, and focuses instead on heritage, national belonging, and the prioritization of the interests of existing citizens. This is not to be sneezed at. I am not critical of this except for its limited vision. And so it's true that with this statement, Vance focuses on something that is important, on culture, on shared ways of doing things, on a shared history. But it seems to me he does so at the expense of what is so crucial about America, that not only we are in search of a good life, but that we are in search of the good life, as described by Jefferson and Lincoln. The good life for all who embrace the values and the aspirations of America, wherever you were born, whatever your parentage. The life that we continually strive for to realize in our country. And that is that the good life continues to search for us. Amen. We turn now in our prayer books to page 282, and I invite you to rise for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר ראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם בחלקנו רחם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
You may be seated.
Ozi vizimarat yar vayhi Yeshua. Ozi vizimarat yar vayhi Yeshua. Ozi
We turn now in our prayer books to page 291 as we prepare for the recitation of the mourner's Kaddish. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and our words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives most fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world, and each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one whose life now ended, brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone and every life finds purpose. We think now of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. On this occasion, we think of those who have been laid to rest during this past week: June Garson, Pam Glosserman, Daniel T. Weidenthal, M.D., and we think as well of those who have been laid to rest in the past 30 days: Ronald Newman and Evelyn Strauss. And I want to read the list of those names called into our office here by you. Sanford Arnold, Emmanuel Manny Bauman, Faye Bloom, Alan Bortz, Daniel Stephen Dockman, Clara S. Fellinger, Marjorie Garson, Lillian Kaplan Gordon, Irene Goulder, Marion L. Kendis, Geraldine Class, Harvey Class, Matteo P. Kretsch, Maurice G. Lader, Rose Zeev Lasky, Albert Charles Marks, Eugene Nolish, Molly Nolish, Bennett Rosenthal, Rana Rosenthal, Naomi Spunt, Nancy Tenenbaum, Alex Wintner, and Bruce Wolfson. If you wish to mention the name of a person about whom you are thinking at this moment, please do so as my hand passes over your section of the congregation. I want to remind you that a complete list of the yard sites is contained in the inner pages of this Shabbat handout. And now, before we recite the Kaddish, I invite those who are observing the first 7 days, the Shiva period of mourning, if you wish to please rise. And those who are observing the Shloshim, the first 30 days after the death of a loved one, please rise. And those who are observing the yard site, the anniversary of the death of a loved one, to please rise. And now, as a caring congregation, let us all rise as together we recite the Kaddish found on page 294, as we say together, Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalmad divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon of Yomechon, v'chayedecho Beit Yisrael, v'agolav izman kariv, v'yamru amen. Yehei shomei rabba mevarach le'olam alamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudashah barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'yamru amen. Yehei shalom araba min shemaya v'chayim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us. And let us say together, Amen. You may be seated. I want to mention a few of the things that are coming up here at Mishkan Or. Many activities. I'm not going to read every single one of them. Tomorrow at 9 p.m., our weekly Shabbat Torah study, this week conducted by Rabbi Joshua Caruso. On Monday, June 15th from 4 to 5:30, we are beginning a new series considering a magnificent book by Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, Not in God's Name, with a subtitle, Confronting Religious Violence. If you're interested, come on Monday, but please at some point call your name in to my assistant Cindy. We put it on a list, and I write every Sunday before the Monday of a session, I write a little note to people on the list. That's Monday at 4 o'clock in the Hartzmark room. Tuesday, June 16th at 7, Israeli dance at Mishkan Or. Saturday, June 20th at 10:30, our monthly communal Shabbat morning service. And this is new, Mahjong nights at Congregation Mishkan Or, beginning Monday, June 22nd and Wednesday, July 8th from 6 to 9. And the Mishkan Or annual meeting, Wednesday, June 24th at 7 o'clock. Friday, June 26th, I hope you're absorbing all of this, June 26th at 6, our monthly Shabbat B'yachad, Shabbat together. I see here in very small print, let me see if I can read it. Sunday, June 28th, the classic car show from 10 to 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And as you leave the building, you'll see parked along the curb on the outside 3 classic cars, which ought to stimulate your desire to come on June 28th from 10 to 2. And finally, 1 or 2 more things. Sunday, June 28th, the Women of Mishkan Or Maltz Museum exhibition, Icons and Ink, the 28th, Sunday the 28th from 11 to 1, and Sunday, June 28th, the Cantorial Convention opening concert. The American Conference of Cantors and the Guild of Temple Musicians will open their Cleveland convention with a special concert at the Maltz Performing Arts Center. Cantors Lappin, Sebo, and Sager will be among the featured performers. For tickets, please click on the link in your latest CMO e-news. Okay, so much going on. Before we conclude our service with Adon Olam, let me remind you that we are going to make Kiddush out in the Commons area, so please make your way there so that we can continue to celebrate Shabbat together. Our concluding song, Adon Olam, page 321.
Adon Olam Hashem Allah, b'terem kol yitzir nivra, li'et ma'asa b'chefzo kol, hazay melech shemo nikra, v'yacharei kichlot hakol, levado yimloch nora, v'chu haya v'chu hove, v'chu yiyeh b'tifara, v'chu echad v'ein sheni, l'cham shilo, l'chach bira, v'li rishit, v'li tachlit, v'lo ha'oz v'chamisra, v'chu eili, v'chay go'ali, v'tzur chevli, v'et tzara, v'chu nishit, u'manosli, v'nat kosi, v'yom ekra, v'yado, avkid ruchi, v'et ishan, v'ya'ira, v'im ruchi, v'vi'ati, Adonai li, v'lo ira.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Bill.
You want to get the wine or the...
What is the wine?